Om Saram to our listeners. Welcome to Sai Number News 811. Today we'll be hearing the final part on the story of Easwaramma. Let's have a Ganesh Bhajan first, and here's one for you.
Gauri Ganesha Vinayaka, 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 Shuklambaradhan Nath Gajanana, Shuklambaradhan Nath Gajanana, Shri Gananatha Vinayaka, Shri Gananatha Vinayaka, Shri Gananatha Vinayaka, Shri Gananatha Vinayaka, Gajavadana Jaya Ganapati Vandana, Gajavadana Jaya Ganapati Vandana, Gajavadana Jaya Ganapati Vandana, Gajavadana Jaya Ganapati Vandana, Mangalamurti Gajanana, 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 Gauri Ganesha Vinayaka, 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 Shuklambaradhan Nath Gajanana, Shuklambaradhan Nath मङ्गलमूर्ति गजानना गौरी गणेश विनायका.
Not only did Baba demonstrate that mother comes first, he never promoted any stifling social taboos. Contrary to the customs of those days, he treated widows with the same respect as Sumangalis or married women.
And when Venkamaraju Garu died, what beautiful incident I can narrate. When after his death, what happened? This anointing ceremony actually took place, whatever it was. And the same arrangements were made. And Swami, first the mother would anoint. Swami waited and waited and waited and waited. Time just fled. And the mother did not come. Swami got up from his decorated chair, quickly got down the steps from the dais, and there were little rows of rooms beside the small auditorium. And in one of the rooms I had brought mother there. And she was sitting there sobbing and sobbing and sobbing. What did the Divine Son do? He consoled the earthly mother with so much love. And do you know what he said? It's something which could be recorded for eons. He said, Chudu, Dasharatha సెచ్చినప్పుడు ముగ్గురు భార్యలు పాపం పోగొట్టుకున్నారు. ఇది మేలు కదా? ఒక్కడే. And put his head on her head and asked the lady to bring that bowl of anointing oil. He held it in his hand and he asked the lady to give the flour. And he said, dip the flour to the mother. So he bent his head low. Right. He took her hand and made her dip the flour in the oil, took her hand and made her put it on his head thrice. Oh, it was a beautiful sight. And the scene that was enacted was a message for the whole world to know. A son, whether divine or mortal, has got to serve the mother, has got to love the mother.
At another time, Dr. Jayalakshmi Gopinath recalls an incident from her childhood when Mother Easwaramma suffered a hand injury.
Her hand hit the front seat very hard because with a jerk, the car came to a halt. What a sight! What a sight! He took her by the hand. And it was my room. Of course, mother's was there, father's was there. My room, I used to sleep alone there. Quickly, mother got ready a cot and everything for the Divine Mother, everything ready. So, she was brought to that room. I was just standing. Who came into the room? But the concerned son. Him ledle, he said, took her hand and put a lot of fair spared it on the hand. He consoled her very benignly, and then she looked up at him. Swami, noppi Swami. He went away. Then, the whole night, she was groaning with pain. And I didn't sleep because Mother, the Divine Mother, she was groaning, I didn't know what to. Midnight, Swami came thrice. Thrice. I was the witness. It has come in from Sanatana Sarthi also, this. So I was helpless. I didn't know what to do. I would go to her, catch hold of her, and say, Amma, I hope it's not hurting you too much. Only these words. I don't know what to do. The Divine Son, coming to the mother who gave him the body, with so much of love and concern, trying to sort of soothe her, and giving the divine vibhuti. She should have gone to a hospital. You see, it would have been a terrible thing. But the great God saw to it that overnight it was cured. And the way he spoke to her, and the way she looked at him, Swami, noppi Swami. Oof, Even till today I cannot forget it.
Despite Baba following his own path of spiritual leadership, Mother Easwaramma's bonding with her son was one of tender love and respect. Ever the doting mother, she never smothered his commitment to his mission. Of all her nobility, there are 3 selfless desires of Mother Easwaramma which have etched her name in gold in the story of the Satya Sai avatar. Simple living and high thinking personified, she was responsible for setting up 3 models of selfless love for entire humanity. Few know that Sai Education, Sai Healthcare and Sai Water projects that have been serving millions free of cost all owe their origin to Mother Easwaramma. Bhagwan Baba has publicly acknowledged her as the direct inspiration for his mammoth social service projects known throughout the world. On one occasion, Baba said,
"Once she told me, Swami, our Puttaparthi is a small village. Since there is no school in this village, the children are forced to walk long distances to attend schools in the neighboring villages. I know that you are the ocean of compassion. Please construct a small school in this village." I asked her where she wanted the school to be built. She said she had a piece of land behind her house. She wanted the school to be constructed there. As desired by her, I got the school constructed. Though it was a small school, the inaugural function was a grand affair, attended by many devotees. The next day, Easwaramma expressed her happiness over the inaugural function and said that she had one more desire. She wanted a hospital also to be built in the village. She said, "Swami, I don't want to put you to trouble. If you are troubled, the whole world will be in trouble, and if you are happy, the whole world will be happy. So, if it gives you happiness, please construct a small hospital." As per her wish, I got the hospital constructed. Bejawada Gopala Reddy, a highly reputed person in those days, was invited to inaugurate the hospital. The inauguration was attended by thousands of people from the neighboring villages. Easwaramma did not imagine that this would be such a grand affair. Next day, she came up to me and said, "Swami, it does not matter even if I die now. I have no more worries. You have fulfilled my desires and mitigated the suffering of the villagers to a great extent." I said, "If you have any more desires, ask me now." She replied hesitantly that she had yet another small desire. You know that the river Chitravati is in spate during the rainy season, but in summer it dries to a trickle and people do not have drinking water. So, please see that some wells are dug in this village. I told her that I would not stop with these small wells and that I would provide drinking water to the entire Rayalaseema region. Easwaramma said, "I don't know what Rayalaseema is. I am satisfied if our village is provided with drinking water."
Dr. Jayalakshmi Gopinath recalls how the noble mother gently nudged her worthy son to such selfless acts of charity.
So the mother was instrumental in getting the hospital built in Puttaparthi, near the old mandir. Baba agreed to the mother's request and the hospital was slowly built. And that is how patients would come and they would be treated without the doctors or anybody taking money for the treatment. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful heaven. And another thing which the mother wanted from Swami was, you see, sort of a school for the children. Because the children from Puttaparthi, they had to walk all the way to Bukkapatnam or somewhere a little far away if they had to study beyond the primary section, you see. That is why a school was constructed, because the mother prayed and sort of adored praying to Swami and almost compelled him with devotion to build a school for the children. So a hospital for the needy, a school for the children, and so many other things, the water facilities. because the women had to go and draw the water from the wells. Then started the pipe system. So water flooded Puttaparthi. What else did human beings want? Shelters, food, water, and then a school for their children, a hospital for their well-being. All these things came up like an exhalation in a jiffy, and small Puttaparthi grew and grew and grew in magnitudes, and later to become what we see today, the mandir, the lovely mandir that we have there.
Despite the pedestal her noble son placed her upon, Mother Easwaramma remained her humble self, never boasting about her status as the mother of the world teacher that her son had emerged. Like all other devotees, she addressed Bhagwan as Swami and was full of reverence for him. It was these virtues, along with her golden heart, that made Easwaramma so very special. And Swami too rewarded her with many beautiful experiences. Speaking during her Samadhi celebrations in 1999, Swami said,
From that day onwards, Easwaramma never stayed at home and started staying in Prashanti Nilayam. Every day, in the morning and evening, she used to come upstairs and talk with Swami. She also understood my divinity very well. When I appeared in the form of Lord Shiva to her, she would ask, What, Swami, why are you adorning the snakes around your neck? I would act innocent. Well, I don't have snakes on me. She would move away saying, Look, there are some snakes inside. But later, on not finding any snake inside, she would ask for forgiveness. Like this, on many occasions, she had the experience of my divinity.
But one of her greatest blessings was a vision she had a few days prior to passing away, which she confided to another elderly lady. We know of this directly from Peddabottu Amma, a devout lady from yesteryears.
Peddabottu, Easwaramma said to me, I want to tell you something that happened to me, but tell no one else. I sat closer and said, What is it? Tell me. Our Swami is God, she whispered. I laughed. Why do you laugh? She asked. No, I was not laughing at you. I'm only happy you have realized it now. Well, tell me, how did you come to know? I asked. You know, I have been having high fever for 4 days. Swami came to me then. In a dream? I asked. No, she said. He really did come to me when I was rolling restlessly in bed. Ammai, how do you feel? He asked. My whole body is aching, I replied, looking up at him. Then what can I tell you? It was not he that you and I know. It was Ramachandra with Kiritam and Kodanda, crown and bow. I raised my folded hands and struggled to sit up and get out of bed. But in a few moments, he became Swami again, gave me Vibhuti Prasadam and said, the fever will go, and went. You are indeed blessed. What a rare piece of luck, I exclaimed. None of us has had a vision of Sai Rama as Ramachandra Murthy while fully awake and alert.
Easwaramma's passing away was in itself an example to humanity. May 6, 1972. At the time of her passing on, Mother Easwaramma was in Bangalore. 11 years after the event, Bhagwan Baba publicly acknowledged her goodness when he described her last moments in a public discourse. He explained that the proof of the good is the way they die. Genuine devotion is evidenced during the last moments. Baba recalled how during the summer course of 1972, the mother had finished her bath, had her coffee as usual quite happily, and had taken her seat on the inner veranda. All of a sudden, proceeding to the bathroom, she cried out thrice, Swami, Swami, Swami. At this, Bhagwan responded, Coming, coming. Within that period, she breathed her last. Bhagwan Baba pointed out that no greater sign of goodness is needed. She went so smoothly and easily with his divine name on her lips. She had no need to be served or nursed. Bhagwan also said that God's name will come to the memory at the final moment only to a very few. The mind usually seeks and stays on some object or the other, some jewelry or valuable, or a relative. She did not even call out to her daughter or granddaughter, who were physically present there, but to the Lord she had borne as a son. In her passing on, as in her life, she held out lessons for all. Her final moments bear testimony to the authentic consummation that an ideal and virtuous life must strive for. They say great and noble souls never die, but continue to inspire after death. Easwaramma was one such being who unceasingly is concerned about Swami even after her passing on. During a discourse on May 6, 2001, to the utter amazement of the audience, Bhagwan Baba disclosed,
You may be aware or not, but even after 30 years of her passing away, Mother Easwaramma continues to express her love for Swami in a number of ways. Even to this day, she moves around in her physical body. At times, she comes to me and expresses her motherly concern for my well-being.
This is how intimate the bond between Swami and his mother remains. She continues to stand out as an ideal wife, a sister, a mother, a grandmother, and a devotee. The Lord chose her as his mother perhaps not only as a reward for her past deed, but also, as Professor Kasturi noted, in appreciation of what she was capable of in this life. For Dr. Jayalakshmi Gopinath, Mother Easwaramma was always a role model, and she explains why.
We have read in books about great women who stand as ineffaceable sort of models for all women. But I, as a young girl, and even later, have witnessed the divine drama. I can never forget it. And it was not propaganda as we do these days. She was wonderful. And then somehow, I do not know, because she was so simple, she was so loving, no ostentation, sincere in whatever she said, childlike, and did whatever she could do for her godson. Wonderful person. She was a very, very great lady. In many sort of magazines or whatever it is, there are many social societies. They sort of publish, they did this one, they did that one. But Mother Easwaramma stands head and shoulders about all of them. There was absolutely no ostentation in whatever she did. There was concern. There was love. And she knew somehow she should go to her divine son, plead with him, and get these things so that everyone is happy there. So she was a tremendous model.
That is the sterling quality of the divine soul that the Lord chose to bless to be his earthly mother. And with the supreme teacher to guide her, Mother Easwaramma absorbed every lesson Swami could impart to her with his glance, his word, smile or gesture. Through her role as a mother, she rose to be a living saint, radiating simplicity, humility, love and purity. Ultimately, the great soul we know as Easwaramma reached a state where she took every event and emotion, every thought and activity as a gem-set doorway through which she could cognize the One, and finally become one with the Divine. And today, even as she continues to look out for her son, she also stands out as a key player in the saga of pure love that was unleashed on November the 23rd, 1926. To Easwaramma, Mother to the Avatar, Mother to the world, let us offer our love and respect, dedicating ourselves to the highest ideals she lived and breathed so naturally.
And so it was that she was chosen to be Easwara's Amma.
And so it was that she was chosen to be Easwara's Amma.
Divine Mother of Sai,
Divine Mother of Sai,
Divine Mother of Sai,
Divine Mother of Sai,
Easwaramma, 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 Divine Mother of Sai.
She loved all of God's children.
She loved all of God's children.
She loved all of God's children.
She loved all of God's children
Who came to see the Lord,
who came to see the Lord,
who came to see the Lord.
who came to see the Lord.
Easwaramma, Divine Mother of Sai,
Easwaramma, Divine Mother of Sai.
Easwaramma, Divine Mother of Sai,
Easwaramma, Divine Mother of Sai.
Easwaramma, Divine Mother of Sai.